finally watched Toy Story 4, a sequel that a lot of people are talking about. I think a lot of people are liking. I know it doesn't need to exist. Personally, I was fine when I was actually watching it, but then afterwards I started to think about it and I really had problems with it. So I don't think of it as fondly as other people do. And I don't like it as much as the other three, even though 2 is actually my favorite of the 4, and this film ultimately felt like a retread of 2, but with some issues. Well, essentially, it's the same plot as number 2. Woody has to come to grips with the fact that his new home is going to grow up as well. The kid in his new home, Bonnie, and he has a choice to stay with his new kid or go into this amazing new world where he can be loved by kids forever. Again, very similar to 2. There's a new redheaded character with a tragic backstory who becomes an addition to the group in Gabby Gabby. I'll talk about her in a minute. And ultimately, though, the choice Woody makes is very much the opposite of 2. I'm not sure I agreed with it. The big problem I did have, that a lot of people do have, is that Andy's sacrifice was now made in vain because Bonnie forgets about her promise within a week. While it is very realistic that kids would play with other toys, they would neglect some, but the fact that Woody does end up leaving the home altogether and goes to this new world where he's become a lost toy does irk me, because essentially when Andy asks, oh, how's Woody? He's gone now. So that Bonnie's gonna realize that the promise was broken. That's frustrating and so difficult. Because Andy was loyal to Woody too. Oh well. You can say that Woody's definitely, he becomes a father figure to this new toy that Bonnie makes, Forky, who, there's a lot of trash jokes, it felt, because Forky wants to be in the trash, but Woody convinces him he's a toy. He kind of goes through the arc Buzz went through, but Buzz Lightyear thought he was more powerful than he really was, and Forky thinks he's less powerful and special than he really is, so there's some retread there too. There are themes pretty blatantly about parenting and, how it can be very difficult with different kids, and Woody getting the choice, reconnecting with Bo Peep from his past and having the opportunity to become a lost toy and enter this new world of this carnival where he can be loved by kids forever. It definitely had themes of, a parent who's going to become an empty nester or is an empty nester, having to find new meaning and new purpose. A lot of Disney films definitely have themes that can be applied to parenting, which makes perfect sense. Written by parents, Disney's a family company, so of course they're going to have stuff in there for parents to understand and relate to. And it is intentional. It's just that Woody's become more mature over the past few movies and accepted he's not going to be the favorite toy, even though he seems to do a pretty good job getting love and attention wherever he goes. So there's that. He'll always be able to find somebody. He'll always be able to make a kid happy, which can't be said for some of these other characters. Gabby Gabby she's an antagonist. She's not the villain. She's not a twist villain, thank God. I, as well as a lot of people, were getting sick of that. She does want Woody's voice box because she thinks it's going to impress this kid, Harmony, whose grandma runs this antique store. Oh, by the way, I have a slight cold, so that's why my voice sounds a little funny. But Gabby Gabby's been neglected on this antique shelf for many, many years. She's a toy from the 50s. She's a baby doll. Honestly, pretty adorable. I don't know if it's interesting because she does ultimately succeed in getting Woody's voice box, so he gets the broken one and she gets the fixed one, but it ultimately amounts to nothing because Harmony rejects her in a millisecond, and she's got to deal with that. I do like the theme, though, that of handling rejection. I actually wish it was fleshed out more. I found that very interesting. You don't see a lot of stories where people get rejected, you don't know the reason, it sucks, but you gotta deal with it. I would have liked to see that plot point expanded on more. She does end up finding her place, and she ultimately figures out, oh, being fixed didn't matter, didn't do squat. But she still ended up finding her place anyway, later on in the film, in a particularly adorable scene. Another problem I had that I know a lot of people also had, wanted to see more of the established characters. Come on, Jesse, Buzz. There was a lot you could have done with them. They were just stuck in this van the whole time. The movie had quite a few stories going on, and sadly, quite a few characters did get the shaft in favor of other ones. They introduced some new ones, but sidelined some of the ones that they had. Again, I really love Jesse. And for some of the characters, I do get it. Like Don Rickles, Mr. Potato Head, he passed, but still really wanted to be in the film, and at his estate asked, so archived footage was used. I get some of the characters for where the actors passed away. I know Jim Varney, similar case. But they could have had more of an active part in the movie, but they're trapped in this van the whole time trying to buy time for Woody. But I get it. There was time with Bo Peep and what she's been up to since she got the shaft for 2 movies. And those two, Woody and Bo Peep, they had a really cute chemistry. And it definitely played like, oh, 2 single parents finding each other again, reconnecting after so many years. Or maybe exes. So again, there's a lot of applicability for parents, but ultimately, I didn't like the film's continuity with the other film. I definitely felt like the big ones that Andy's sacrifice was in vain. That hurt. Woody ended up leaving the friends to become part of a lost toy with this new world. I don't know. Well, it definitely made it clear it would have destroyed him to have to watch Bonnie grow up and go through the fact that she would eventually leave him behind as well. I don't know. She still liked him, and he still took care of Forky. I don't know. I think I would have preferred it if he did go back, but this is a retread of 2, so he ended up finding new meaning and new purpose. But I don't know. I just felt like he could have kept his own promise in a way to Andy as well. It was not a fan of the continuity. While there were plenty of enjoyable elements, again, the animation is great. They do change a few things up from the previous stories, which is great. Didn't need to exist. Had fun watching it, but I think, at least for me, I think in my head it ends at 3, and 4 is just a fun what if. Just to make myself feel better.